Hello, hello, this is Pigsy doing another video. I don't know, I'll probably wrap up a few things maybe in this video, it depends how it rolls into it. Meghan Markle, they say she's gone back to Canada, whether that's true or not, or maybe she just disappeared. That could also have happened as well, because it's not maybe as simple as you just walk away from the royal family. They're very much like a mafioso at some levels. That's what it said about Diana and what happened to her, the truth about Diana. That she was a liability and that she was silenced. But that's always been rumours about these kinds of things. It wasn't just a sad accident that happened, it was a bit more orchestrated. And even though that sounds far-fetched, but when you look at how clever things can be done, like Putin had an opponent who was going to, basically would have taken his presidency, it was a popular vote, and he got assassinated, and a car just drove by him, and he was, but basically just at the critical time when the camera would have seen who done it, a vehicle went by and he got shot, and that was it. And that's what pretty much you could do with a lot of things. You know, you could have a marksman, he waits, takes a shot, bang, and that's it. I mean, potentially, I guess Meghan's life is at risk at some level. I think there's some kind of feud or something's happened behind the scenes way before all this has happened. I wonder if he could set themselves up as some kind of Canadian royal or something. It'd be some sort of new branch, represent the crown in the interests of Canada, I guess. I don't know. They'd accept them. What they have a new blooming seal. They'll have the maple leaf and a crown on it. They might not have anything apart from nobility there and a title, but you could set yourself up. Anyone could give themselves a title. You know, they could register themselves as sort of lord or queen or king or anything really. You know, all you need is a bit of land. If you own that and that become its own separate state, you could call yourself king of whatever. It's not impossible, because you'd have to find someone to oppose that, and if there is nobody else that's in that role, then there's no issue. You know, we could speculate what triggered. I think she might have found some darker truths about the royal, and there could have been an argument that ensued between her and the Queen, or something happened where they fell out, and she became less popular in their eyes, or maybe her plans were to live more in Canada, and she was told she couldn't, and she's not one to be probably told what to do, and so she's pulled away from that. So whatever's happening, there's more going on. Maybe her father pops his head on the scene, because at the moment she's vulnerable, and so potentially you've got more sway, because I know that they don't get along, but maybe there'll be a difference, or maybe she may need to confide in somebody about what's going on. There's all sorts of things. And then also where it puts Archie. I don't think you can actually take people's titles away. You know, somebody can't turn around and say, you're not a Mr., you're a Mrs., or something like that. It's the individual. Once you've bestowed a title on someone, you can't remove it, afraid. Not really. That's why you shouldn't be giving out OBEs and other things so easily. So the Queen's got their own self to blame. Because some people, like Jimmy Savile and other things, they're all given these noble titles, but it wasn't based on their sexual preferences. It was based on them and their social status at the time. And for other people, they perceived them as celebrities. The darker side of them doesn't really matter. Obviously it does to the victims, but what we knew about them at the time they got the OBE or they got whatever their knighthood, it was a different story. Skeletons can come out past someone's death, and you can't take away their title because it wasn't based on that. What was it based on? I guess it's based on honour, but if someone's maintained British values and done whatever function they're supposed to, then it can still be called a Sir. It's just one of them things. You don't have to be, you don't have to like someone to have a title. And then I guess we're moving on to what other politics and things are going on. So I'll be gearing up to World War 3. Pretty much there's potential for a big conflict Now, for the UK, we need to stay out of it. It'll make things worse. I think Boris just needs to close his mouth. Silence can be 1,000 words or something. You know, it's like a picture, I guess. But silence doesn't. There's all this stuff about condemning stuff, and that's very personal. When you blow somebody up with a state, you use a missile on someone. It's not personal. It's something completely different. And also how people define what a defensive action is. You know, it's a bit like I felt threatened by my boss, so I attacked him. I was just acting in self-defense. How can you justify that? It's impossible. Or somebody might say, well, a good defense is an offence, and you're just playing with words. You're just trying to justify behaviour that can't be reversed. It's irreplicable. You can't pull it back after it's happened. So it's, you know, no sorries are going to fix that, and calming down period. It's very difficult there. It's almost like the school bully and the sort of comedian there. So the bully does something terrible, and then the comedian tries to smooth it all over. Oh yeah, I didn't mean to upset him. Oh, I didn't mean to kill that person. But it's, you know, and then they're saying things like, oh, he's got British blood in his hand. Who knows? Maybe he has. Maybe he hasn't. Has he killed him personally with his own bare hands? Did he go to seek out to kill people? And also, why were these troops in his country? The problem is when people stick their nose into things that they shouldn't do, they set themselves up for a counter move of some kind. And when you start playing a game, if I was an AI system or a computer, I'm not playing to take one pawn out, I'm playing to wipe the board. And that's it. This is this game of Risk that's being played. So you've got bases in countries that maybe they belong there or not, I don't know, or they're being used. And the issue is because they're associated with a particular country, that they have this branding to do with the country, and when it all goes pear-shaped, people say get them out, and then they attack these sites. But then it's a question why they were there in the first place. It might be to keep an eye on Russia or something. But it becomes, you know, to justify it, they could give a million reasons, but it will come across as paranoid, it will come across as controlling, it will come across as some type of global conspiracy in there. It's not going to look good because it doesn't make sense. Half of the actions that happen in the world, it's like to preserve our interests beyond that of other people's. So it's a bully tactic. It's domination. It's a soft war of some kind. You know, you're playing a game where the stakes are very real. People get killed if things go wrong, but it could be you're sharing data, you're pushing out propaganda, all these light stuff in the background. And then what somebody wants to do is use a level of inertia to push the conflict forward, because they don't want to be caught up in it. But what they want to do is set it up so they gain the best financial gains, I guess, from a World War III situation. And it does. I mean, it preserves Trump's presidency. The impeachment goes out the window. Maybe other things, people connected with him. Because once you start digging, you'll find all sorts of stuff on the guy. You know, nobody's whiter than white, and would expect to find a few skeletons in there. But it also seems strange because for ages the press were pushing this thing. Come on, Carl, know where you're going. They were pushing this thing about, you know, basically, I wish somebody would assassinate Trump or something. So they haven't helped this situation. It's just made it all worse. So anyway, for if you talk about cooling down the situation and that kind of thinking, then the best way is to pull away. It's like a fire. There's no point putting more fuel in it. So we don't want any involvement in it. It wasn't democratic. There had nothing to do with defence, because there's imminent actions. So what is it, a counter-strike or a preemptive strike? A preemptive offensive. It's nothing about defence in it. Defence is when somebody attacks me and I do something back to minimise them attacking me again. You know, in martial arts, it's like blocking, And diffusing the situation is you immobilise them. Your idea is you're not trying to kill him. Nobody teaches you martial arts. He gets out a knife, you go stab him. They would say, we'll take the knife off him. So that's a defensive action. An offensive is to reuse on himself. It's effective because you annihilate your enemy or remove them from that situation, that equation. But I wouldn't want to turn around and say, yeah, I was acting in self-defence. He said, what, and you killed him? Oh, yeah, because he would have attacked us at some point. He would have come back years in the future and killed me. It's a separate event. You can't justify it. You can justify it in the moment thing. If they caught some people in their airport with the explosives or people that traced them straight back to him, then you could have said that you've dealt with him as a terrorist, removed him, whatever. But I think it's about power and interests financially. That's what's driving them forward. Right, there we go. So that's that. So I guess watch this space, and also Israel. If Israel get involved, it's a World War III thing. We don't want to get involved in that. There's been a long load of tension between Israel and Muslims, and hotbed around fuel and stuff like that. And even Ukraine are being implicated. Maybe they will like I say, it's that subtle push into it. So creating a more heated up situation. The same for Russians. They want to sort of step back a little bit. If they get involved, the game we're playing is very a piece at a time. You might as well just take out the thing completely. If that was if I was playing the game, if I play a game, I play to win. There's no point playing to immobilise your enemy and keep your shareholders happy, and so they get financial gains out of it. It's much more, you want to cement yourself in that position forever. What's the point of playing war games? And then, because the people playing the war games are not the military, it's money people. And once they've got what they wanted, they diffuse it, cool it down, and then lots of propaganda war goes on, other different types of games, media games and so on, telling people, how terrible this person is, and trying to get you to lead you along a path of believing something in a particular way. So you just got to play it cool. Anything else? MGTOW? What have I learned about MGTOW? Interesting, like I mentioned before, how situations get switched around to, are you married in your relationship status? It's very difficult to have a normal conversation with some women. I'm not saying all of them like that, but a lot of them have this thing where relationships have to come up into the equation. And why are you there? You could have gone across the road. You could have gone across the road ages ago. Instead, just hanging around for me to flash my lights. If you go out, I slow down. I can't be bothered. It's on the wrong side. So yeah, that's something of interest. I was having a conversation about something on telly, and it's like, how long have you been married? And it's one of these weird sort of curveballs, because there's no evidence to say I'm married. If you just assumed that I am, or wanted to see my reaction if you asked the question. It's a bit like if someone said, oh, well, how long have you been gay? You'd be like, what the hell? Because I'm not. The thing is, throwing something like that causes a reaction, and then they can say, oh, I didn't mean to upset you, and then they'll start digging around. So it's a shock and grab tactic, grab information tactic. There's so many potholes down this bloody road. Fasting, quick one to fasting. I've been eating a load of bananas. I had about over 10 bananas today. Your body feels okay. I had some green ones as well. I wanted to see the effect, because there's basically difference is the starch. That's the main difference. There might be some other differences in a banana. If you've got green bananas versus a yellow one. I'm not on about different types of bananas, because there naturally are different bananas out there anyway. I was wondering if there's anything I can grow in the UK. I could grow in my flat. It wouldn't grow into a monster plant, but would give me, I don't have to wait years for it as well. You'd have like a little banana grove or something. Wake up in the morning, eat a few bananas, or if at midday or something, just gobble them up. So basically I've had a load of meat for what I've been doing, what I call a meatarian because there's other things like called ceetarians, and which was a bit like fishitarian, but that's a pescatarian. So I don't know why they've used that. It just seems to be just playing around, just eat seafood. And carnivore is a kind of is something that eats meat. It's like a grazer. You know, it's an inappropriate classification for somebody that eats food. I guess Aryan is like the general diet, and then the veg or fish or whatever Aryan you add to. You know, there could be like an insectarian and just eats bugs. I mean, there's things in China potentially for that. There was something I was check out with was like wasp wine. It had a lot of wasp venom in it. It might have some health benefits. It's a case of introducing something slowly and seeing how your body reacts to it. But it might have. See, the thing is with wasp venom, it comes from their bloody spinal fluid. So there's some other benefits in there. So yeah, anything else on a quick blast of it? And I guess for MGTOW, some sites are absolutely, if you're looking around today to find someone new, they're just full of scammers. The whole site's a scam. Just get away from it, sort of thing. Better do. Oh, can't see where I'm going then. Right then, this is Higgsy signing off from this vid. Have a great day, speak to you soon, and for a while.